As we discussed in the previous video, the Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung originated the concept of archetypes. Jung studied cultures from around the world and began noticing patterns that reoccurred with great frequency. For example, most religions in the world have some sort of sacred tree archetype. There's the tree of knowledge of the Bible, the lotus tree under which Buddha was said to have achieved enlightenment, and the sacred tree at the center of the world, revered by many Native American, Celtic, and Norse people. In each case, the sacred tree played a central role in each religion's story. Jung believed that it was no coincidence that these images kept cropping up from culture to culture. He believed that certain constellations of ideas, such as the sacred tree, the mother maiden crone triad, the warrior sage golden child triad, the mandala, and other archetypal images, were concepts that were inborn into all humans in much the same way that certain birds are born with the knowledge of how to navigate during migration. These archetypes are not something we have to be taught, they're something we're born with. Jung hypothesized a repository of these archetypes within each human mind. Some of these archetypes was something he called the collective unconscious. This means that every human being has a repository of these archetypes somewhere in their own unconscious mind. The part of our brains that's responsible for consciousness is just the tip of the iceberg. Far more of our brain power is used for unconscious activities. So, for example, until I called your attention to it, were you consciously aware of your breathing, or of your heart beating, or of the thousands of biological processes currently going on in your body, being regulated by your brain? Likewise, many of our emotional reactions and memories take place on an unconscious level. If you've ever had a strong emotional reaction to a place or a situation without knowing why, you've experienced the power of the unconscious mind. The unconscious part of the mind where the emotional memories are stored has no sense of time. That's why often a strong grief reaction doesn't get better with time. Time alone, in other words, cannot heal a childhood trauma. It only gets better when we learn how to deal with it. The same is true for the positive emotional experiences that we live through. Think back right now to a time in your childhood when a deep spiritual connection in your life was severed. Do you still have a strong emotional reaction to it? If so, you've again experienced the power of the unconscious mind. Not everything about the unconscious mind is negative. It's been theorized that the unconscious mind is also the seat of creativity. It's the part of your mind that's activated when you dream. Most creative people report that their best ideas seem to come out of nowhere. As a musician myself, I can attest to this fact. Think back to the last time when you were inspired by an idea or a flash of insight or a hunch that just seemed to be right. Was there a conscious process involved, or did the idea just seem to come to you fully formed? If you had such a moment of inspiration, then you've once again experienced the power of the unconscious mind. Some would say that this process is the inspiration of the Awen. The problem with trying to tap into the power of the unconscious mind is that if you could be consciously aware of it, it wouldn't be unconscious. So how do we get there from here? Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung's mentor, called dreams the golden road to the unconscious. He believed that the apparently nonsensical content of our dreams was in reality the unconscious mind's attempt to communicate to the conscious mind. Jung expanded on this concept himself, believing that the symbols we see in dreams could tap into the power of the collective unconsciousness through archetypes. A dream about an archetypal image was especially powerful to Jung. Such a dream to him was a direct message from the collective unconscious. Later, psychotherapists began to expand on this idea, especially in the use of projections from the unconscious. You may be familiar with Rorschach Inkblot tests. In these tests, the subject is shown an inkblot on a piece of paper and is asked to describe what he sees. Such images are attempts by therapists to tap into the person's unconscious. in the way that Freud and Jung used dreams to achieve the same end. Such techniques are used by therapists to gain insight into the unconscious minds of those who have mental health issues. But what if we could harness the power of the unconscious mind for creativity and connectedness as well? For this week's activity, you might want to buy a notebook or a diary. That would be your dream journal. Keep it on the nightstand or somewhere near your bed. When you first wake every morning, make it a practice to try to recall your dreams from the night before. Write them in your journal, preferably before you get out of bed. Try this for a while and notice what paying attention to your dream life tells you about yourself. Hi, this is Shenka. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to subscribe and click on that little bell icon so you're informed when we release a new video. We try to release a new video at least once a week. And if you're interested in the Black Mountain Druid Order, you can visit our website at blackmountaindruidorder.com. You can also learn more about me, my books, and my music at shenkaskane.com.